I'm Ian Diamond and I'm Principal and Vice Chancellor of the University of Aberdeen, but I'm also a member of the Research Advisory Group of DFID. And I'd just like to say that I think we've had a fabulous session this morning, a really good roundtable which looks at all aspects of DFID's emerging education strategy. Starting off with a real look at the move from primary to secondary and what that means. I support fully that we need to move to secondary education, but it is not just about having people in school, it's about the quality of the education that they get when they get there. And the point was made, I think, very firmly that secondary education costs money and requires a lot of thinking around the curriculum. And we need really, I think, to be absolutely going into secondary education, which is the right thing to do, but with our eyes wide open. We also talked a lot about the need for quality education, both at primary and at secondary education, and actually managing to make sure that people are leaving school with a set of key skills, and how in those societies where we have seen reductions in pass rates, that we need now to push back on those pass rates and to have initiatives which lead to an increase in success and the key skills that will be needed for people not only in the employment market but in the wider range of educational outcomes, for example health, agriculture or indeed childbearing. Now, we then also talked a lot this morning around payments by results. One of DFID's new programs in Rwanda, looking at payments by results, and some really quite interesting results of how in the first year against the baseline there had been an increase in the number of children passing at different levels of schooling. I thought that was a very exciting piece of work, but it was very much introductory. And one of the things that came out today was the need properly to monitor and to evaluate all the work that is going on. So amongst the many incentives, amongst the many interventions that people make into education, and let me just as an aside say, there is no magic bullet in education. We will be looking at a multivariate and multitudinous number of interventions, and we must always monitor and evaluate them properly. We must undertake new interventions on the basis of the research that exists. Sometimes that research won't be complete, and DFID is fantastically committed to ensuring that we undertake the research that is needed to decide which interventions to take place. I would argue, personally, that at the same time as that, we need to start some interventions where we might not have all the evidence that we need, but we've got enough to say, look, this is the best we can do. We need to start, because in finality, donors working together in partnership have an enormous amount of an enormous role to play in ensuring that we do three things. One, increase the number of people in education and make sure that those people are obtaining a quality education. Secondly, to make sure that the education people get is enabling them to move to the next stage of their life, to have the skills for the employment market, whatever that will be. And thirdly, we are doing everything we can to access and enable those disadvantaged, either disadvantaged by disability or by poverty or by exclusion or in fragile states, to make sure that they are not excluded from the educational opportunities which will be essential for them to achieve their long-term ability.